And now for our feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
The Pinnacle baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball to Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
All right, greetings and a good Friday afternoon, and welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online, and driven by our friends and yours at Stokes Volkswagen. Find them at stokesvw.com. Find us on the JB and Goldwater app. You can download that into your phone. It's free, and you can watch and listen to our program daily in its entirety. And if you happen to miss something, of course, you can go back and check us out at any point in time, anytime that you please. You can always get a hold of us at 843-321-8893. That's our phone number. It is also our text line. It is open, and you can follow us across all social media platforms at JB and Goldwater individually, at Sports Media JB, and at Darren Goldwater. If you're watching to the right of the screen, that is me, JB. To the left, that is Darren. We're here until 2 o'clock, as we are every day, and it's going to be another fun Friday for you, as a matter of fact. 3 guests, Raphael, Esparza in Vegas, and then might as well call it Big Spur Power Hour at 1 o'clock this afternoon, because we'll be back-to-back joined by John Whittle with the Big Spur. Of course, we're going to talk about last night's Arkansas game with South Carolina, look to games 2 and 3 today, and then Hale McGranahan will preview the spring game coming up at 1:30. You can also head to our website, jbandgoldwatershow.com. Find us in any chat room that you're watching or listening through, and pop us a comment. We'll put it on the air, and we'll have some fun with you as we head into the weekend. But first and foremost, Darren, good afternoon, my friend.
So I didn't realize last night watching the game that prior to the second home run for Robert Moore, some of the Gamecock fans were chanting Oompa Loompa at him. So going through Twitter today and seeing the bat flip and seeing the response to the Carolina fans at least had me chuckling a little. College baseball, college sports are fun. You can get on, guys. You can get the razz coming right back at you from the players. I mean, I know you guys didn't love it, but it at least made me smile.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I thought it was great on both sides. I thought it was great. I mean, obviously, if you pull for South Carolina, yeah, you know, when a guy hits a couple of jacks against you, basically to beat you by himself, it's frustrating. But it's great for the sport to have that type of sportsmanship,
Yeah,
if you want to call it that. I mean, it's great. Look, if you've been anywhere in this league, if you've ever been to Clemson, if you've been anywhere, I mean, dude, that's just fun. Like, they're having fun with him. You know, I'm not a big fan of personal insults on anybody, but when you have fun like that, I think it's great. The kids, they enjoy it. They want to prove you wrong. You know, yeah. You got your say. He got his say. It's great. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, and the bat flips were pretty epic. You know, he's not tossing them in the air. It's immediately after. I mean, he almost flipped the bat before the ball hit the bat twice.
Right.
Just flipped it on forward. Good sport, fun sportsmanship.
Absolutely.
Nice.
It was a typical game 1 for Carolina last night, Darren. They lose.
Yeah.
That's what South Carolina does in the SEC in game 1s. They lose, and then they generally find a way to bounce back and get it done. We'll see if they can today. 6-1 the final, and they'll have games 2 and 3, 2 o'clock. It's a day-night double dip, so 2 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and Brandon Jordan will be on the bump for Carolina. And then maybe a preview of the future for South Carolina's pitching staff, because Will Sanders, of course, will start in game 3 tonight on a Friday night. Will Sanders is a guy that a lot of folks think that one day will be anchoring that role for Carolina baseball. It'll be Peyton Pallett who will go against Brandon Jordan today, a 4.06 earned run average, 51 strikeouts, and 13 bases on balls. And then the ever glorious TBA for Arkansas tonight. And we'll see who ends up opposing Will Sanders. That might depend on who they need to use out of their bullpen today. It's kind of been a mix and match type ordeal for the Razorbacks of late. We also have a great segment coming up in a little while. We'll be doing this on Fridays. It's called Buy or Sell. I think you're really going to have some fun with that. And so stay tuned for that. That's going to be right here in the first segment of our program. We've got some stuff on Trevor Lawrence. He's got a new endorsement deal, and it's a nice one to tell you about. So we've got a lot of fun to get to. But first, Darren, we do need to get to the 2-minute drill to start Friday afternoon off. As we've discussed, they'll play 2 today in Columbia. Gamecocks, Razorbacks. South Carolina, of course, is pretty good in games 2. 9 of their 10 SEC wins have come from there. We'll see if they can make it 10 or 10-11 today. Other baseball going on throughout the state. CSU has the same schedule as South Carolina. They bumped to last night, double dip today. 13-1, pounded Asheville in Asheville. They'll play 2. Bucks now 13-16, 13-12 in the Big South. College of Charleston, how about this, Darren? They're off. They're going to play this weekend.
All right. It's bad timing. They've been playing pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, Wofford beat them on Wednesday night, but yeah, outside of that, they have been playing well. They pounded the Citadel Tuesday. 16-16, 7-5 in the CAA are the Cougs. The Dogs double dip today, single game tomorrow at noon, 1 and 4:30 are the start times in Greensboro. Citadel 11-21, 3-11. Clemson and Wake Forest coming up tonight. That schedule so far so good. Friday through Sunday, 15-18, 9-12 in the ACC are the Tigers. 7 games in a row, though, they've lost. Let's see if they can get going. Coastal's got Liberty in a 3-game set this weekend at Liberty. Liberty is really good, by the way. FCS playoffs begin this weekend as well, all available on ESPN3 or the ESPN app. Braves will play this weekend. They've got the Diamondbacks in town as well. So, all in all, it's a good weekend. I'm anxious to see how many football games folks will tune into at the FCS level. I probably won't watch any, to be honest.
Yeah, I won't. I mean, as much as we want coverage, and we've been saying that they haven't done a good enough job promoting it, which is true, I'm not going to watch it. I got what's going on this weekend. I'm not going to watch FCS football.
No, I don't think that I'll be tuned in. Every first-round game will play tomorrow, and then the quarterfinals next weekend. I'd say if there's one that I'm interested in, I don't know, probably maybe Jacksonville State and Davidson. VMI James Madison actually would probably be the one I'd want to see. It's a neat little game there. VMI James Madison.
Yeah, I mean, you got the traditional power, James Madison. They've been undefeated. They were ranked number 1 this year, and then somehow got a number 3 seed. So they are just basically saying, "Hey, thanks for the motivation, ESPN," or not ESPN, but the committee making us number 3 seed, and see if VMI can continue what's been a storybook year for them.
Of course, also part of that 2-minute drill, the South Carolina spring game, 2:00 on Sunday. We'll be watching if you're not in the ballpark. Let's go back to last night, Darren. I know that as the casual common fan does these days that knows not much about baseball, they take to Twitter immediately. Can't wait to get on there and tell everybody what they know, even though they know nothing. Mark Kingston criticized last night for a bunt that he issued to Josiah Seitler with runners on first and second, and nobody out. Seitler popped it up, and it didn't work out for the Gamecocks. Well, let me lay this out there. I'm not trying to make enemies here. If you've coached college baseball, call us right now. Send me a message, whatever you want to do. If you've coached college baseball, send me a note. Tell me where you coached. If you've coached this team and you've seen them in practice, give us a call. Get in your little chat rooms. Get on your little Twitter page. Come on, work those fingers. I want to hear from you. I want to hear why you're so upset about that call. I mean, because this is going to be crickets. You realize this, right? Nobody's going to say a damn word, Darren.
Well, not now, not when they have to actually own up to something.
No,
but,
nobody's going to say a damn word. So here's my simple advice: shut the hell up and sit the hell down. because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. 3 hells, 3 H's. That is a call that Mark Kingston has to make, okay? None of us are in practice with this baseball team. Not through the fall, not through the spring, not week in and week out. And he said last night, right after the ball game, we bunt every day. I have 100% confidence that Josiah Seidler can get it down. Now, some of the detractors are going to say, well, what else was he supposed to say? Of course, he's going to be asked that. He's going to defend his guy. He's going to defend his decision. That's very, very true. I also, though, know this. There is no way on planet Earth that Mark Kingston or anybody out there, unless it is like truly the most desperate call ever, are going to issue a bunt with that guy, Josiah Seidler, unless there is some type of confidence that he can get the bunt down. He's not going to do it. It's just not going to. It's too important of a game. So you have a decision to make, right? You got to decide. Darren, you know baseball. You have a decision to make. All right. Am I confident enough in this guy to get the bunt down? Yes or no? That's the first question you ask yourself. If you want to bunt. If the answer is yes, you bunt. If the answer is no, you don't bunt. But clearly, the guy, who manages the team, watches the players every day, practices with them, kind of knows what's going on, thought that he could get the bunt down. Now, it didn't work out. And sometimes they don't work out. And then, of course, Darren, the other jackass crap that you see on Twitter. We should never bunt. We should never bunt. Well, where were all of you for the last 5 weeks when they were getting all those bunts down and moving runners and it was working?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean you should never bunt? Because I could go back and list a bunch of them. So where was everybody? I'm confused. Let me tell you what.
Saying one failed bunt cost you a 6-1 game?
No, exactly. I mean,
I just wanted to clear that up.
This is nonsense. Let me tell you what happened last night. It's pretty simple. They haven't played well on Friday nights for whatever reason in the SEC. And there's one other thing, Darren. I'm forgetting. I don't know. Arkansas is the number 1 team in the country. Those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, when somebody is bunting, just as an FYI, that doesn't always mean that the dude who's on the bump is just laying one in there. Here you go, Sally, pop it down there. Okay, guys pitch will throw you a little bit different. Might throw you a cutter, might throw you a fastball up and out of the zone, might come in on you and try to jam you and things like that. There's a lot that can happen. And it doesn't matter if it was Josiah Seidler or Derek Jeter at the plate last night. All right. He had confidence in his player to get it done. It didn't work out. All right. Seidler had a tough night anyways. I don't even care about the fact that he didn't get the bunt down. He swung through 287-mile-per-hour fastballs. He had a tough night. Those things happen in baseball. It was the number 1 team in the country, and they happened to execute, and Carolina didn't. That happens. So for all the bunt experts and all the coaching experts out there that can't wait to tell you what they know, call me and tell me why I'm wrong. And also tell me what you do for a living so we can follow you around and criticize every decision that you make that doesn't work out, because we all make them on a daily basis, and we don't have somebody who can't wait to tweet about us. It's a joke. Shut your mouths. If you don't like watching the game, then don't watch the damn game. If you can't handle it when something doesn't go right in SEC college baseball, it is the highest level of baseball there is until you get to Double-A. Forget single A till you get to Double-A. Don't watch it. If you can't handle it anymore, don't watch it. I mean, I didn't even really want to get into all that today, but I read one. I was like, well, let me see what other idiots are out here on Twitter. And I read more, and I said, oh, my God, there's more idiots than I thought. There's a lot of idiots out there. So if you can't handle it, don't watch it. Or put your phone in a locker somewhere and just try to enjoy it with a drink and a burger or something like that. Had to get that out there, Darren. I don't know if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, but you've tried to bunt before. It's not as easy as you think. And that was a position when he walked. I didn't care who was walking to the plate. If it was my thought initially, not that I'm the coach, but for everybody else that can't wait to give their opinion, I'll give mine. Whoever's walking to the plate, if they can, if he's comfortable with him bunting, they need to bunt right here. They need to get one down. Why was that? Because Colin Burgess is on deck, and he's been the best hitter for South Carolina the last few games. He's been the hottest hitter in the league, in league play for South Carolina. So you would have him coming up with a run with first base open. And if he happens to get on, you've got the bases loaded. And if he happens to bop one somewhere, you got a couple runs. If he hits a fly ball, which he hits a lot of those, you've got a run. It was the perfect call, and it didn't work out. And sometimes that's what happens.
You could work on bunting all the time. It's still not easy. Like you said, I mean, just because you turn around and square doesn't mean the guy's throwing a fastball right down the pipe, right to your bat. He's not. Right? He's going to make it hard on you. He's going to throw it up in the zone. He's going to try and make you miss the bunt or do something wrong. Okay? Look, it happens. If Mark Kingston actually thought that that wasn't a good move, I bet you he would have owned up to it and said, you know what, next time, probably won't bunt in that situation. But that's not what he said. He said we do it all the time. They've been doing it all the time. It just didn't work. You lost the game 6-1. Personally, I'm proud for you. I'm happy for you that today's game 1 is at 2. Because that means you are an hour and 44 minutes away from bourbon. It sounds like you could use a little.
Not for 2. I got to pick the kids up from school this afternoon. So we're not a drink and drive family around here. But at 5, yes, certainly. No, I just look. I saw that. There were everybody questions everything when it doesn't work out. I mean, I even saw one comment on there about Skyler. And the fastball, the second one that got hit out of the ballpark, well, Meade wasn't upset about that, but he was upset about something else. And I was like, well, okay, wait, hold on. Oh, God, open your eyes, utilize your brain, and just for a second, hold on just a second, put the Twitter stuff down. You're a tough guy behind the keyboard. I get it. But it was 0-2. The guy swung it too fast, or one breaking ball that he missed, but it was up in the zone. I think it was breaking ball or change. I can't remember. And then a fastball. He got a call. It was tough on the Moore kid. It was a belt high, borderline call, Darren. I wasn't a big fan of it, but it got him to 0-2. So what do you do there? You've got him up in the count. You've got him down in the count, but up in the zone, right? So you go above. You go higher. You change eye levels. Try to get him to chase. If he doesn't chase, what do you do? His breaking ball looked good last night. I'm talking about Tom and Farr. You go to the breaking ball in the dirt. You've got him. Well, what happened? It was an 0-2 pitch that he didn't execute, and he threw it right down the middle of the plate, and the kid entered a country mile. And that's somehow Skylar Meade's fault? He could call the pitches. He can't throw them. I mean, people think that, like, these coaches should all just be canned after everything that you do realize that the guy on the mound has to execute, right? Like, that has to happen. Colin Burgess was literally standing up looking for the pitch and then put his head down when the ball got hit out into Ray Tanner Way over the right field wall because it was poorly executed. You can't criticize the coaching staff for that stuff. The player threw Darren, when is it ever okay to throw an 0-2 fastball right down the middle of the plate? Ever.
Probably shouldn't do it.
Especially against the guy who already hit one out in the game.
Yeah.
He missed. He didn't execute. Thomas Farr had a great game.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, that might have been his best game in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
Right? He just happened to go on the back end of things. Things didn't go his way. It's Arkansas. They're good.
he threw 2 bad pitches in that game. 2. Mm-hmm. And they both left the yard to the same player. Outside of that, he was brilliant. I mean, he was brilliant. He should be confident after that game. So that stuff, people just, they don't get it. If you don't know what the hell you're talking about, don't talk about it on Twitter. Don't. Find something else to do with your lives.
That's what Twitter's for, to get on there and yell about stuff and have no accountability. Where you been?
Well, that's true. That's true. Accountability is a lost art these days, it seems. So here's the good news. Carolina's pretty good in games 2 and 3. Actually, really good. They are 9-1 in those, and we'll see if they can capitalize on that record today. We've got more on that with John Whittle coming up at 1:05 this afternoon. And yes, I just saw Adam's comment pop up there. His command was still solid for the most part into the 7th last night. A few bad throws, but overall good outing from him. You're right, Adam. It was a great outing from Thomas Farr. I was texting back and forth with Nick Godwin last night. I said, man, if you can get a 1 or 2 run lead, if you can get it, and you get far into the 5th or through the 5th into the 6th, maybe just into the 7th, what do you do there? You go to Bosnick, because then you're going to have lefty on a bunch of lefties, and then you got Carey waiting in the wings, right? I mean, you're golden, but they just couldn't quite get it done. But all those guys are available today, and hopefully South Carolina is available for a Friday afternoon doubleheader sweep of the Hogs, take down number 1. We'll see if it works out. Arkansas is really good, and I really like watching them play. I got to add that in there. They're a fun team to watch, Darren. When they roll out on the field, they're confident. They look like players. I mean, that's a good club.
Yeah. Derek Scott said yesterday, he was talking about Moore. I think he said he used the word kind of dirtbag, but in a very complimentary way, right? Just, he's not that big. He's going to play his tail off. Yeah. And that's what you saw. I mean, I had not seen Arkansas play yet this year, but I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed the little bit of flair. I mean, I had Bryce Harper on my team for a long time. I don't mind flair in baseball. No. So he was fun to watch.
He's a blast to watch. Absolutely. Text line's open, 843-321-8893. Raphael Esparza coming up here in just a little while. John Whittle, Hale McGranahan will take us home. Got plenty to get to. Want to pass on, and certainly our condolences to Terrence Clark's family. The loss of a Kentucky Wildcat and future NBA star yesterday in a tragic car accident out in Los Angeles. Terrible, terrible breaking news last night. So from the low country of South Carolina to his family and friends, our thoughts and prayers certainly are with them. The NCAA, Darren, has recommended 50% capacity for baseball and softball regionals and other postseason events that are NCAA mandated. And there's one key word in all that: recommended. So we'll see if some of these schools, I don't know. I think the question is whether the NCAA will actually use a word again, mandate that. I don't think they will.
They can't.
I don't think they can. How are they going to override local government? You can't do that.
No, you can't at all. So recommendation's great. So do your best to get as many fans as you are comfortable putting in based on your state laws. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, good luck. If Ole Miss or Mississippi State hosts a regional, good luck telling them, oh, by the way, you've had 12,000. You can only have 6 now.
Right. That's the other. It works both ways, right? Some stadiums are going to have 50. Some won't have 50%. Some are going to have more.
Right. Yeah.
It's a recommendation.
Yeah. It's a recommendation. So the NCAA, more than likely by a couple of schools, is going to be told to shove it. They're not going to care too much about that. That's going to be good news for them. And so we'll see where that goes. Trevor Lawrence signing with Gatorade. Darren, he, according to the wonderful statistician Darren Goldwater, first quarterback to sign with Gatorade in 9 years. That is hard to believe. What other quarterbacks are out there that could have signed with Gatorade? What? So let me ask you this. What? We all know Gatorade is selective about their athletes and who endorses their product, right? Have you ever looked into that? Like, what is it that Gatorade looks for? Because there's a lot of great players out there, but they don't all endorse Gatorade.
So Cam Newton was the one back in 2012, and I got that from Front Office Sports. They've done a great job for years now, so I'll credit them where I got that information from. So Cam Newton was the last one. Part of it is you don't want too many different guys, right? You have your brand ambassador, and that was Cam Newton. You didn't see a ton of guys in the NBA endorsing Gatorade when Jordan was doing it. When you've got your big name guys, you've got your endorsement. And you just don't need a whole bunch of guys out there pitching the same product. You've got the face of your product. They're going to pay him handsomely here, Trevor Lawrence. The reports are it could be about $2 million a year, or at least worth in the range of about $2 million a year.
Wow. He'll join other great stars like Bryce Harper, Zion Williamson, of course, stars of the past. I mean, Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, of course, is still a face for Gatorade. Eli, Peyton, gosh, who am I missing? Serena Williams, Misty May Trainer, one of my favorite Olympians with the United States volleyball team, LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. Trevor Lawrence is in that category, folks. That is really, really neat. Congratulations to him. You said roughly $2 million a year?
Yeah, roughly in that range. I mean, I don't know how it all breaks down, but that's what they're reporting. Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. Again, Raphael Esparza, John Whittle, Hale McGranahan ahead still on our program. But now we're going to introduce a new segment to you. It's going to be fun. We're going to do it on Friday. I've done this before somewhere else, and Darren has elected to bring it back. It's called Buy or Sell. And basically, it's our opinions on some of the topics that are headlining the sports world that we live in. these days. Buy or sell is presented in part by our friend Jeff McCarriger with Carolina One Real Estate in the low country of South Carolina. If you're buying or if you're selling, I can tell you this, be sold on this. You better have a realtor that knows what they're doing with your dollars. We certainly trust Jeff, always have, always will with all of ours. You don't want a realtor for a transaction. You want a realtor for a lifetime, Darren. I think we all know that, right?
Absolutely.
Real estate can be a lifetime decision. It never is for some. Jeff McCarriger will be your best friend in that industry. Jeff.McCarriger at carolina1.com. If you're not watching and you're listening, let me spell this for you. Just remember the 2 C's and 2 R's in McCarriger. 2
And
C's and 2 R's. Yeah. 2 C's, 2 R's, and a GH. MCC ARRAGHER. Jeff McCarriger at carolina1.com. All right, Carolina loses last night, but will they win the series? Are you buying or selling the Gamecocks surviving the Hogs today?
I am selling because while they've done it now, I believe 4 straight times, they have not done it against the number 1 team in the country. You still have the typical Friday night guy for Arkansas. I'm selling. I think they get one. I don't think they win the series.
You know what? I'm with you. I know that some people don't want to hear that. I mentioned the other day that forget everything that they've done. This series here in particular, Carolina was probably going to need to win game 1 to win the series. Now, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I get to cut on this microphone on Monday and laugh at myself along with all of you. But I do think Carolina splits this series today, but I think they drop it to Arkansas. What's important, don't get swept. Don't get swept. You get a win against the number 1 team in the country. That's good for the resume. Don't get swept. But I'm with you. I sell. I think Carolina will lose the series this afternoon. Darren, there will be 7 ranked teams out of the SEC in the D1 baseball top 25 on Monday. Are you buying or selling that? Now, let me tell you, there were 7 ranked teams this week. Are you buying or selling 7?
I will buy because it's still the best league in the country, even if things go a little sideways. Say Arkansas sweeps Carolina, they're in the top 25. They're not going anywhere. I think the committee has enough respect for the SEC that you're going to continue to have about 7 in there.
I agree. It's kind of a trick question because I'm selling. I think they'll have 8.
Oh, okay.
Who's jumping in? I didn't say at least 7. I just said 7.
You did.
I think Georgia will crack the top 25 next week. They're at Missouri this weekend. Georgia's 24-12. If they sweep the Tigers, who aren't good, they'll be 27-12, Darren. They'll be 10-8 in the league,
and they'll be in.
I think they'll be in. They're knocking on the door. I think Georgia will be in there. I think the league will have 8 when these rankings come out on Monday. Clemson will win their series this weekend against Wake Forest. Are you buying or selling the Tigers, not only ending their 7-game losing streak, but actually winning this ACC series?
I'm going to buy it only because I want to see it happen. But right now they've lost 7 straight. This is a dangerous buy, right? If you were gambling on this for fun purposes only, this would be like a plus 250, plus 300 type of thing. So you give 100 to win 300 because the odds aren't good. They're scuffling. But I'm going to buy it just because I want to see it happen.
I agree with you. I'm buying. And you mentioned gambling. I'm betting on Monty Lee this weekend. I think that he'll get him going. I think that they'll win the series. I don't know that they'll sweep the series, but I do think that they'll win it. This is a team that's really starting to not just – they needed to get healthy, and then once they got healthy, they needed to get into a flow. So I feel like maybe this weekend will be the start of that flow for the Tigers. They're as healthy, I think, as they've been. Sam Hall now back for the last 6 or 7 games. But I'm with you. I think the Tigers will win that series, and they will. They're on the first 5 out, right? Or first four out, considered by D1 baseball in the latest projections. First 4.
They can still get their way back in. They're at a critical juncture of the season right here. Not playing well, plenty of opportunity to play their way back in.
They have Louisville next weekend, so if they can get going, we'll see what happens. All right, into the spring game, the offense for South Carolina will be more impressive than the defense on Sunday afternoon. Are you buying it?
I just gave you my answer. I'm selling that with about everything that I've got.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it, and let me tell you why.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let me tell you why. Because the offense knows where they're going and the defense doesn't. and generally in spring games, that can be that. Generally in spring games, spring games are more beneficial stat wise to the offense, unless your defense is really, really elite. And I just don't know that yet for South Carolina. I'm actually going to buy that the offense has a better day on Sunday. What does that mean? No.
I don't know.
I don't think it means a damn thing.
No, it doesn't mean anything. It's a spring game. And it'll be hard to probably figure it out unless one side of the ball is significantly better than the other.
Yeah, I think that they're going to go out there and they're going to really be carefree and have some fun. I think the offense, that's just personally what I think, but we'll ask Hale what he thinks a little bit. New overtime rules coming in college football. 2-point conversion attempts will be required in OT3 if you're watching a college football game starting this fall. So you got the normal OT in number 1. In number 2, you'll get the ball at the 25 and be required to go for 2 if you score. And number 3, all you get to do is go for 2. That's it. Those are the new rules. Do you buy or sell that?
Here's why I'm going to buy it. These overtimes can go pretty long. We've seen 4, 5, 6, 7 overtime games. This is a television window thing. I know a lot of you love going to games, and I get that. This is a television sport. It's a television window thing. You don't want games going 4 hours. It's weird. I don't love it, but I'm buying it because I understand the reason for it.
I'm actually selling. I'm selling. I hear you, and I don't disagree with you. It's a difference of preference, I think. I think that I think this is actually pretty simple. I think that they should do each of these periods without the clock, of course.
Yeah,
from the 50. And let me tell you why. Because it's not a guarantee that it's never a guarantee that you score, but it's hard to score from the 50. So special teams comes into play much more. So if you get it, first of all, if you get a team that scores, you have to now go 50 yards to score. If you don't, you're definitely way out of this thing, right? It's going to end it quick. If you don't go 50 yards to score, say you kick a field goal, the next guy that comes up, they only get to the 30. You got a 47-yard field goal. The chip shots are kind of eliminated, basically. Not eliminated, but reduced significantly. I actually think that OTs would end faster by going from the 50 in than just by going back and forth 2 yards out for a 2-point conversion.
So I think it would go much longer because you could get a stalemate there. If you're at the 50, you could get a stalemate and you could be going back and forth for who knows how long until somebody scores. And then you get the bottom half of that inning to answer. So I think it really extends the overtime if you do that. I'm not a huge fan of the 50.
Hey, Michael Flint came up with an idea. He said, go to the high school rules, put them on the 10-yard line, give them 4 plays. That's it.
Okay.
So, I don't know, but I'm selling this. I like my idea better because I have Twitter and I'm smarter than everybody.
Yeah, of course.
And are you buying or selling, dropping new practice rules that are not official yet, but could be in May, dropping contact practices in college football from 21 in the fall preseason to 8, Darren, 8.
Here's why I'm buying it. At first, when I saw it, I said, that's absurd. But there have been multiple studies done that say about 50% of the concussions actually occur in practice. I buy this. It's a safety thing. You're not taking contact out of the game. You're just taking it like the Oklahoma drill is about as violent as it gets. 2 heads hitting each other all the time. I get what they're doing. I'll buy this.
Drills, if they want to regulate certain drills like that, to me, that's a different conversation. I'm with you there. Mm-hmm. I am totally selling this. 21 to 8, I think is ask any coach in college football. You have to practice tackling, and if you don't know how to tackle, you get hurt in this sport. You can get hurt in a multitude of ways, and concussions are the top of the food chain here. But there are a lot of other things that can happen out there if you don't know what you're doing. I think that you can't. I don't agree with cutting this by not a third, but I guess it'd be or by 2/3, but 55, 60%, whatever it is, whatever the math, 60%. I think if they're going to cut it, And you're right, there are studies out there that prove that a lot of this happens in this time period. Cut it by 6 or 7, maybe go down to 14 or 15 of these things, and let's see what happens from there. But guys that don't know how to tackle get hurt in game speed, and that scares the daylights out of me, especially when you have a bunch of dudes who maybe never played at this level, and they're only going to get 8 cracks at it to actually tackle before you got to play 60 minutes in a game where you tackle. I don't like it.
That's a good point. Adam Jarrett points out, it could lead to higher scoring offenses, which is the trend in the game anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a good point too.
Yeah, it is. Let's just play 11 defensive backs is what we'll do. And that is buying or selling. Buy or sell. See, simple, fun. Hit the easy button on your real estate needs. Simple buying or selling or even thinking about it with our friend Jeff McCarriger with Carolina One Real Estate, 843-834-7455. Let me put this in your phone. Just put it in your phone. Just if I need Jeff, that's how you type this in. 843-834-7455.
Nobody better to sell you a house than the internationally acclaimed voice of cornhole, because he'll include cornhole boards if you buy a house from him. He didn't tell me that, but I'm telling him that.
That's a good point. I was going to ask you that, would that, because a lot of realtors give their clients a housewarming gift.
Yeah.
A plant or something like that. Like, will McCarriger pop in some cornhole boards with his big mug on it?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I don't think I'd want his face on it, but I mean, maybe
ESPN
Carolina One logo.
Yeah, Carolina One and ESPN the Ocho, or something like that. I think it's great. So if you buy a house with a yard with Jeff and you get a cornhole board, you can go back there and party all night. That's great. Wonderful. And personal though, he's a great guy. He's a wonderful
one of my
man.
closest friends down here for a long time.
Yeah, wonderful man. Always has a smile on his face. I don't know that he's ever done anything that he hadn't been good at, and he's certainly good at this. So check out Jeff McCarriger there. Let's check out Raphael in Vegas when we return on the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road with exciting news. It's springtime and we're playing ball. Most dealerships don't have any inventory, but at Stokes Volkswagen we do. So we're playing ball on every new Volkswagen in stock. Every 2021 Tiguan, $3,500 off. Every 2021 Atlas, $5,300 off. Every new Volkswagen available with zero down. Qualified buyers can sign and drive with interest-free financing for 60 months. Plus, we'll take any trade in any condition, paid off or not. Is your credit in a slump?
Strike 2.
If you've got $500 down and you make at least $2,000 per month, our lenders can get you approved. So if you want to strike out, that's okay. But if you want to hit a home run and save $5,300 on a new Volkswagen, come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road or StokesVW.com.
$866 per month per $1,000 borrowed for 60 months at 0% APR with zero down. Plus tax tag. Includes $499.50 administration fee. Subject to VCI credit approval. Expires month end.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
What's up, everyone? JB here. Want to tell you about my friends at Mcfadden Pest Control, as we do every day on our program. I love these guys. They've been in business over 40 years, and they treat our family like they've only been around for 4 days. Always doing their best work, trying to earn our business, although they know that they'll always have it. Heath and the guys take care of our quarterly, our mosquitoes, termite bonds, anything we can get them to do, they do it. They're the best. They're friends. Heath even often texts me and just asks to see how my family's doing. It's amazing. I can't say enough about Mcfadden Pest Control. Switch to them. You'll never have anyone else protect your home. McFaddenPestControl.com, McFaddenPestControl.com here in the Low Country.
Spring is officially here, and there's no better place to bring it in than the Dog and Duck. 3 locations in Mount Pleasant, Park West, Bell Hall, and Clements Ferry Road, all of them with gorgeous outdoor seating to take advantage of their daily food and drink specials. Through the end of April, $5 Sweetwater pints. Food specials like Taco Tuesday and the Game Day Burger every Wednesday. It's all available at Dog and Duck. There are 3 locations in Mount Pleasant, Bell Hall, Park West, and on Clements Ferry Road.
The JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online.
I'm gonna keep on the run. I'm gonna have me some fun. It cost me my very last dime. If I wind up broke, well, I'll always remember that.
All right, almost 12:40 Friday afternoon, April the 23rd. Welcome back to the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen, StokesVW.com. To Vegas we go. Raphael Esparza with a healthy Raphael Esparza with MyBookie.ag joining us, as he generally does, to kick off your weekend. Hey, bud.
How you guys going? I don't know about healthy, but I'm here kicking it.
Well, you look healthy. You look good, man. By the way, did you clean up behind you? It was a mess last week. No, I'm kidding.
It might have been. I mean, it's my office is usually a complete train wreck, especially now with the awards information, Oscars, NFL draft, UFC 261. I mean, my floor is a mess.
Well, you see over this shoulder right here. How can I point there? Right there. That's the Chief, and he just released his 3rd of 3 albums today. So make sure you cut on Eric Church to get you through the weekend, okay?
I'll definitely do that because I have trouble sleeping, so I try to find anything that would put me to sleep. So maybe he will put me to sleep.
The Chief. Well,
Amazon concert a day or so ago, and I just saw that you can go back and watch that if you missed it, which you probably didn't.
No, I don't miss anything.
No, I didn't think so.
And he won't put you to sleep. He'll get you all fired up and ready to go. So you better have them heart pills nearby.
Trust me, he'll put me to sleep.
No. All right. Hey, look, before we get into betting stuff, by the way, mybookie.ag is where you can follow along. You can make your money, lose money. Hope you don't, but you could. It happens. But that's where you can follow along with us. First deposit bonus up to $1,000. They also give you a $10 casino chip. Turn that into $1 million by heading to mybookie.ag. This is something Darren, I'm spurring this on you. You didn't know this was coming. Sorry. We haven't gotten to it this week, but it's this whole Super League thing. And so it's correct me if I'm wrong, guys. It's falling apart, right? Overseas.
No, it has fallen.
It's done.
Okay. So whose idea was this?
USA Corporate America. That's all it was. It was a big, big, big money grab. You've seen all these entrepreneurs that are buying percentages of Liverpool. I mean, all these United States companies getting their fair share of European soccer. And I think their voices are saying, hey, how can we make more money for us? Not for they could care less about the fans. They were looking at TV money. They're looking at jersey money. They're looking at matchup money. Because let's face it, that's what we want to see. We want to see the best teams play each other in any sport or any fight or whatever. We always want to see the best of the best. And that's what the Super League would have brought us, was the best of the best for a nice dollar amount for the corporate America.
So why did it fall apart?
The fans. I think the pressure of the fans put so much pressure on the European leagues. And this is not, European soccer fans are not like NFL fans. They run the show. European soccer fans run how things get run, and when they play, when they don't play. If this would have happened in the NFL, let's say the NFL, the CFL, and AFL decided to do a whole big Super League and see who's the best football team, we'd all been like, yeah, let's do it. But no, not over there. The fans pretty much say, hey, what goes and what doesn't go. So I would say the fans were pretty much the ones that tore this down quickly.
The hooligans. Don't they call them the hooligans?
The hooligans.
What was that movie, by the way, with Jax Teller? Wasn't Jax Teller? Well, he's Jax Teller. In Sons of Anarchy, he's Jax Teller to me, but he starred in that soccer movie and they did all the fighting.
I don't remember, but now I can't wait to watch one of the best TV shows, Sons of Anarchy. Highly recommend.
Best TV show in the history of the world. There's no question about that. I'm with you.
I don't know about the history of the world, but it's a top one.
Well, Darren's friend Andy Staples with The Athletic came out with this 15-team Super League in college football. I think he's popped it up on the screen here, Raphael. The first question I have for somebody like you is anything like this even possible?
I could see the Power 5 doing something. I don't know about teams like you're showing in general. I could see the Power 5. But what we've seen in bowl games where upsets happen, where small conferences beat a Power 5 team, I think it's a longer shot to do it in college football. Then really, if you really kind of realize, I think fans would be upset and universities would be upset. Boise will be upset. Central Florida will be upset. Teams that BYU, teams are always knocking off Power 5 teams in bowl games or in non-conference games, I think would be more upset. And we want to see those kind of matchups because, the Power 5, SECA, the greatest thing. But sometimes in bowl games, they don't look like a Power 5 team. They get blown away by teams that shouldn't be beating them.
I agree with you. I generally don't, but I do. No, I'm kidding. I totally do. I've been a proponent for a long time. Darren's heard me say this, and we had a little what do we call that last summer, Darren? A little exercise, I guess we'll call it. Where we kind of discussed.
I don't know if it was about exercise, but okay.
Mental exercise.
Yeah,
okay.
No, it had nothing to do with physical activity. No, but we were discussing things that could help the sport of college football, and one of the things that I talked about, Raphael, was expanding the playoff, because I feel like if there are more resources available to what we call group of 5 type programs in the long run, I'm not talking about next year or the year after, but if you want to grow this sport, I feel like these if Central Florida had access to SEC money, what could Central Florida be? What could Memphis be if they had access to SEC money? Places like that. And so I felt for a long time that the playoff should be expanded even beyond 8. But as Darren has said multiple times, my friend Mike Morgan at ESPN and others, it's not going to happen, at least in the initial future. So when you look at this Super League, that's just rich get richer. I mean, you're doing nothing for the sport except for a select few.
Yeah, I mean, the rich got richer. But one thing about if you add the expansion of college football, and I say to people that want to see that, okay, if you expand it, are you just adding more Power 5 teams, or is there a way to bring in more Central Florida's, Memphis, Cincinnati's, BYU, and all that? Yeah, that's expanded, but I don't want to expand it to see another SEC team or another Big Ten team. No disrespect to them. I kind of want to let the little guys play. So there has to be a format of not just expanding the league and just to have more SEC and Power 5 teams in there. There has to be a format where, okay, we're going to expand it, but we're also going to expand it to not just the Power 5 teams. Because I would love to see Cincinnati play one of those power in a playoff team against one of those Power 5s, the BYUs, the Boise States, stuff like that. That's why I'm afraid if they expand it, we're just going to, let's bring in Georgia since they can't beat Alabama. Let's bring in LSU because they can't beat Alabama. They're just going to throw in teams that we've seen matchups before.
So speaking with Raphael Esparza in Vegas on Twitter at VSI Doc Sports without the K. When I saw this initial list, and again, Darren and I literally have not, we've been trying to get to it. We haven't gotten to it. When I saw this initial list, I know that there were some people that I think the reaction or the highest, whatever, most widespread reaction to this list, agree or disagree, guys, was right there in the middle. Everybody looked and said, Nebraska, well, they haven't been relevant in 20 years. But the way I looked at this list was, okay, yes, this has something to do with relevancy. Obviously, Bama, Clemson, we get that. But it had more to do with brand and geography. Because you can't just I'm with you, Raphael. I'm a big SEC guy, but you can't create a super league that's only the SEC or that's only the Big Ten. So they had to figure out a way to stretch it across the country. And where's Nebraska? Oh, I don't know, right smack dab in the middle of America. And then, of course, they added the Ducks and the Trojans as well. But what were your thoughts when you saw those teams? What was your reaction?
When I saw Nebraska, I looked at my calendar and says, "Am I 1990?" I mean, I didn't know what calendar that format was. They shouldn't be there. No disrespect to Penn State, I don't think they should be there in there either. Again, those two teams were the ones that brought my eyes. Where you can add in a UCF, you can add in a Cincinnati. Cincinnati and Nebraska are okay. They're not that far apart if you kind of look at it. To me, again, it's always the big guys getting all the attention and the little guys getting nothing. So, again, expanding it needs to.
If you're going to have a super league, you need the big brands. That's why Penn State fits. That's why Nebraska fits. That's why Central Florida does not fit. That's why Cincinnati, Memphis do not fit. If you're going to do it, and this was just an exercise, you need the big brand because the big brands are money.
Well, then they should play it. You should be able to play into that format, not just bring them just because of their brand. They should have plans, and I think the Super League in soccer will eventually happen. But there's going to be a format like how do you not have Lancaster from the EPL, who have been really good the last 4 to 5 years? How do you not invite them? Leeds, who's been playing some really good soccer as of late, how do you not invite them? There has to be some kind of format where you play into that Super League, where maybe 1 year you're in the Super League and then you suck next year, or your recruiting class sucks and you don't get invited because you stink. So I think there needs to be a format where you play into that Super League format.
Well, here's what we will see. And I don't know when we're going to see it, but I can tell you what we will see. One of these days, we're going to see the Power 5 breakaway. And then whatever they're going to call that. Maybe that's the Super League. But we'll see that one of these days.
I think we will, and it'd be horrible for football. Just plain horrible. Why do you think March Madness does draw so much better than the Sugar Bowl or the Orange Bowl and stuff like that? Because you get the storyline of, wow, Gonzaga's in there, not a Kentucky or North Carolina or UCLA. You got teams that play into that position, not just, oh, you're a Power 5 team and you got the money. We'll put you on TV. Everyone loves it. No, sometimes you're just going to get a bad product. You think LSU is going to have a good product the next couple of years? Probably not. So why should they be invited to that Super League if they don't have the talent? And maybe some other schools has the better talent.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with both of you. I agree with everybody. I don't agree with the guys calling out Mark Kingston on Twitter last night, though.
No, we got that part.
I know. MyBookie.ag is where you can make some money. So what is the moneymaker this weekend, Raphael Esparza?
I mean, this weekend is just a full-packed weekend because not only do you have NBA, NHL, which playoffs are getting around the corner, Major League Baseball, you can watch both our Washington Nationals and Cubs stink over the weekend, but you have UFC 261. It has not one, not two, but 3 titles on the line at UFC. And you're going to see live fans there at Jacksonville, Florida. So you not only get to see UFC 261 with 3 championships, but fans in the stands. So that's a fun. Saturday, you get the Razzie Awards. Sunday, you got the Oscars. So it's just a full-packed, great money to be made. One thing about UFC 261, 3 title fights, and it would not shock me if all 3 champions walk away with their belts. There's about $4 favorites or higher in these championship fights, but keep an eye out for Rose and Willie Zing. I think that female championship fight is probably going to be fight of the night. I think there's going to be blood all over the octagon after this fight's over, and I would not be shocked if Chris Riedemann and Uvar Hall is the fight of the night as well. These guys fought 10 years ago, and there's still bad blood between these two guys, so that fight should be very entertaining.
All right, let me ask you a question. You sent me an email, and I know that we're a month and a half away from this.
About draft.
No. Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul on June 5th. I got a question.
Who is Logan Paul?
Who's Logan Paul?
He's Jake Paul's brother, but I don't know who he is.
Who's Jake Paul?
The YouTuber who just won his fight over the weekend.
Now, one thing I'll have to say about these, I'm labeling boxing specials or is it bad for boxing? Yes. Is it bad for gambling that's coming in? No. Last weekend's fight between Ben Askren and Jake Paul had better numbers than Canelo Alvarez's last fight. That's how much money was coming in that fight. These guys coming into these boxing specials, Paul's, Askren, all these other celebrities coming in there, they're bringing a younger crowd into boxing where maybe that younger crowd is just huge MMA fans or stuff like that. Let's face it, boxing and horse racing are probably the oldest sports that people watch and all that. So I'll give them the small edge that they're bringing the youth into boxing. Is it great boxing? No, it's not really good boxing. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is it options to make some good money in gambling? Heck yeah, because a lot of money came in on Askren and Paul. I mean, we're taking $1 million in 6-figure bets in the blink of it all. Because you know what Paul has? Not millions, but billions of followers on YouTube and social media. And those people were all over him.
I have no idea who these guys are. I guess I need to go figure out who they are.
Remember when
they're big Eric Church fans too, I think.
Oh, yeah, right. Remember when Nate Robinson got knocked out on the same fight card that Mike Tyson was fighting? Nate Robinson was knocked out by Jake Paul.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Go. Are they twins?
No, I think one's old. I think the one that's fighting Mayweather is, I think, a couple years older. And that fight will happen. It was supposed to happen. They got canceled. But I think the amount of money that Askren and Paul made in June 5th, that fight will probably happen. There's 4 locations: Atlanta, Vegas, LA, and I think Orlando are the destinations that might be hosting that fight.
Okay. All right. Well, so next Friday, I can't wait for this because one of my favorite events in sports, bucket list item for me, is the Derby. Yeah, absolutely. The Kentucky Derby. I'd like to go to all three of them, but definitely the Derby. There's something, the pageantry just gets me every time. So I was essentially quality, I think, or essential quality, 3-1 odds to win it currently at mybookie.ag. But give me the 23-1 guy, Midnight Bourbon. Anybody see him the other day? First of all, Midnight Bourbon, great name. Second of all, did anybody see him spooking the whole joint? Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Midnight Bourbon's going to win it.
I like Midnight Bourbon to hit the board. I don't think he has the speed for Kentucky Derby to maybe try to beat Essential Quality, and Highly Motivated and even Hot Rod Charlie. Those three have essential speed, so I would not be shocked if that one. Rock Your World, that one needs to be – I have to look at that horse on where the horse is placed. A lot of these horses, if they're in a bad post position, they're probably going to get weeded out just because the Derby's always has 16-plus horses in it. So post position is so big when it comes to Kentucky Derby. So I like – if you're going to get Essential Quality at 3-1, he will not be 3-1 if he gets a good post position. So I think that's really good value if you want to jump on that right now.
That'll flip is what you're saying?
If he gets a really good post position, I would not be shocked if he opens up at 5-2, maybe 2-1 or something like that. So getting 3-1. And even Midnight Bourbon, if he gets a really good post position where maybe he has no speed next to him, there's no way he's going to be 23-1. He'll probably be maybe 10-1, 15-1, something like that.
I want to one day when I make all my money, when I'm a billionaire, I'm just going to have a horse named Chief. Actually, I'm going to have two, Chief and Buffalo Trace, and just let them just go at it.
Well, you're not going to have any money until those twins are out of school, so that's going to be a very, very long time.
Well, we play the lottery, so we'll see.
So it'll be tomorrow. Yeah.
You know, my father-in-law plays the lottery every day in Wyoming. He's been doing it for 30 years. Had he saved that money, we'd all be millionaires. But
yeah, that's a good point.
So when will they draw post positions?
I think post position is Wednesday. Wednesday or Thursday is the next week. So they'll do the morning odds and stuff like that. So hopefully, another thing you have to look at in Derby, always look at a track. If it's muddy, a lot of these horses don't like to run in the mud. If it's raining and all that, track is huge at the Kentucky Derby track condition. So there's a lot of factors because it's not a short race. It's not like Pimlico Preakness, which is a short race where maybe some of the dirt or mud might affect the horses. A Derby and a Belmont is a long race.
Darren, are you a horse race guy? Do you like the Derby?
No. I like it. I enjoy watching it. I am not a horse race guy. I don't know the first thing about it. I'll look at the names and watch, figure out who I want to root for, but no, I'm not a big one.
MyBookie.ag is where you can make all the dough by putting a little cash in there. It's if you've never done this before, you get up to $1,000 on your first deposit bonus. That's a match, right, Raphael? So if you put in 500, you get 500. Put in 1,000, you get 1,000. Believe it or not, you put in 50, you get 50. That's how it works. MyBookie.ag. Follow Raphael on Twitter at VSI.Sports. Of course, you can always follow along at around 12:30 on Friday afternoons on our program because he joins us and checks in and tells you how you can fill your pockets to go spend money on your wife and children. On that note, we'll let you. Yeah, who does that?
Wife and children.
It's the other stash. It's the stash they don't know about.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, see, you gotta watch work.
I always wondered why my friends had these holes dug in their backyard. I never figured it out. I got it now. We'll let you run on that note. Hey man, thank you so much. It's it's always a pleasure to see you, and you have been on our nightly prayer list still. You're not going to fall off of it until we know that Raphael is totally in the clear. But we're glad you're doing well, brother.
Well, if you're gonna give me someone's heart, that'd be great. So put me on that a better one. So that'd be perfect.
You don't want mine, but we'll tweet something for you. We'll see if anybody out there's got one.
A healthy one too. So one that didn't eat that much red meat, maybe a vegetarian or guy that's never drank before.
Like Tom Brady. Tom Brady's gonna live till he's 140.
Oh, I wouldn't mind having Tom Brady's heart.
No
Does
kid.
his hair come with it? Because he has a nice full of hair. Does his hair come with it?
So does his wife.
And his wife.
Yeah.
Not his wife's hair. Just never mind. We got to get out of this. All right, buddy. See you.
Take it easy, guys. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. Raphael Esparza with MyBookie.ag. All right. Got to hit a timeout. When we return, the national anthem will lead off hour 2. Power Hour, powered by Wando Power Equipment. John Whittle Hale McGranahan, back-to-back baseball spring game. It's all ahead on the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. What's up, everyone? JB here. Want to tell you about my friends at Mcfadden Pest Control, as we do every day on our program. I love these guys. They've been in business over 40 years, and they treat our family like they've only been around for 4 days. Always doing their best work, trying to earn our business, although they know that they'll always have it. Heath and the guys take care of our quarterly, our mosquitoes, termite bonds, anything we can get them to do, they do it. They're the best. They're friends. Heath even often texts me and just asks to see how my family's doing. It's amazing. I can't say enough about Mcfadden Pest Control. Switch to them. You'll never have anyone else protect your home. McFaddenPestControl.com, McFaddenPestControl.com here in the Low Country.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risk their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
Bourbon and whiskey drinkers of Charleston. Paddock and Whiskey on James Island and the Terrace Shopping Center on Maybank is your home for the finest and rarest bourbon and whiskey drinks in the Low Country. This is where I hang out. Go meet my friends Reed and Chris and try one of their exclusive barrel pick bourbons. They have the largest private barrel collection in the state, and let their knowledgeable staff recommend your next pour. PaddockandWhiskey.com. Let not your heart be troubled. Paddock and Whiskey is here for your next double. We're all friends around here. Paddock and Whiskey, proud partners of the JB and Goldwater Show.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the Links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Low Country. Our back nine is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The Links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf team. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Half, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Clamagore, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater Show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the national anthem.
Live, loud, and online.
Final hour of the work week. Welcome back. The JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen, StokesVW.com. Thanks to Raphael Esparza out there in Vegas, always 12:30 Friday afternoons on our program as part of mybookie.ag. We do have Hale McGranahan coming up at 1:30 today. He'll preview the spring game. Gamecocks going to kick it off at 2 o'clock in Williams-Brice Stadium on Sunday. If you're watching to the left of the screen now, that's me, JB. To the right, that is Darren. If you're not watching, that doesn't matter. You can follow us across all social media platforms at JB and Goldwater individually, at Sports Media JB, and at Darren Goldwater. But now it's our friend, Mr. John Whittle with the BigSpur.com. He, of course, is covering well, everything, including soccer these days. But it's a pretty important series this weekend for the Gamecocks. They're 0-1. That's not a shocker, as we know, after game ones in the SEC. But he's going to tell us everything he sees and thinks. Hey, John.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing today?
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Hey, J-Dub.
There it is. There it is. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Hey, man. We're good. This is a good weekend for Carolina. Hopefully, the Gamecocks can make it a great weekend by sweeping the double dip today. We'll see. We're going to get there in just a second, but I do, believe it or not, I do want to just go ahead and lead off with soccer because after 43 years, the Gamecocks have a new soccer coach. You've been covering this. Tell us about the new head ball coach on the pitch for Carolina.
43 years. That's a long time for anybody to stay in one spot. That's some dedication to the program there that Mark Burson took over at 25 years old, stayed here for 43 years. His service to the university is certainly respected. A change probably should have been done earlier, but he dedicated his professional life to South Carolina, and that's got to be respected. But South Carolina's hired a guy named Tony Annan. Annan is how you spell his name. It's pronounced Annan. From Atlanta United. He's the academy director there, so he's basically in charge of finding talent and bringing it in and developing those guys into professional soccer players from, I'm not sure what age their academy starts. I mean, it's young, 12 or 13 years old, and developing those guys all the way through. So, he's signed, they under his watch in 4 years, they've had 43 Division I soccer players, and they've had double-digit guys. I can't remember the number right offhand. 10 or 12 guys who have signed professional contracts. So he's done a really good job, and he was a fixture in the Georgia soccer scene at the high school level before he got the director of academy director job with Atlanta United. So he's sent some really good players from his days prior to Atlanta United to South Carolina. A Tyler Ruthven, a Sam Arthur. He's had some guys. So I think it's a really good hire for South Carolina. Not really traditional in terms of just going and finding a college coach and bringing him in is something different. But I think it's something that could really work and really be beneficial for the school and this team.
Very good stuff. As you mentioned, 43 years for Mark Burson. I don't care if you're a soccer fan or not. When you man the position for 43 years in anything, that's success, period. And you mentioned the move could have probably been made a couple of years ago or so as they kind of started to slide a little bit. I know there was other things going on in the program, John, but at the end of the day, what a service to the University of South Carolina for Mark Burson, and hopefully everybody's tipped their caps to him. Welcome, Coach Annan, by the way, to Columbia. All right, on to the field we go in Columbia. Gamecocks fall last night 6-1, John, and that's not unusual. I think they like that, actually. They'll go out and try to win 2 today against Arkansas. So talked about a lot at the top of the show, but some things we didn't get into. One of them was how Arkansas handled their staff last night, John. I think it's very interesting. Obviously, their traditional Friday night guy wasn't on the bump because he threw last Saturday. Derek Scott pointed that out on our program yesterday. So Caleb Bolden got the start. And if you ask me, John, I think that they got everything out of him that they were hoping for, right? Like, weren't they basically the Hogs weren't they trying to steal innings with this guy before turning it over to the bullpen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what they were trying to do. And, I don't know how detailed their scouting reports are going back, but we talked early in the season after South Carolina played Mercer. Mercer had those kind of guys who came from a little bit of an angle, sinker slider guys, and those guys gave South Carolina some trouble. And that was a little bit of what we saw last night from Bolden. He did a nice job. I mean, he wasn't dominant with his stuff. I mean, his fastball was 90 miles an hour. I mean, that's not something that's atypical. But he kept South Carolina's hitters off balance for long enough, and credit Arkansas's coaching staff as well. They didn't want South Carolina to see him too many times through the order, and they've got some decent arms in the bullpen, and those guys who came out of the bullpen, all in all did a great job. Monkey, I guess is how you say his name, came out of the bullpen for them. Caden and the lefty, and did a really nice job. He's got some strikeouts this year, and just pitched well. He's really effective against lefties, and he did his job to get Seitler, and then Burgess Burgess grounded into the double play, but nobody has hit Kevin Kopps all year. I mean, that dude has 60 strikeouts in 35 innings. His opponent batting average is down around 180. South Carolina didn't look good against him, but nobody looked good against him. So, they managed that game really well. Everything kind of fell in their favor, and, credit to those guys and that coaching staff for kind of pushing the right buttons.
Yeah, Arkansas generally calls the Hogs, but at the end of last night's ball game, they called the Kopps, Kevin Kopps, 3 innings, 6 strikeouts, only 34 pitches. Matter of fact, those last 3 guys that they threw 64 combined pitches, John, in the last basically 6 innings of the game. It was a monumental performance. My question with Kopps, though, is he available today? I mean, 34 pitches isn't a ton, but these days you throw 34 as a reliever, they generally don't see you the next day. Is he available that you know of?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He looked like a guy. Usually, when you have those big hard fastballs, you don't bounce back really all that well. And I thought 34 pitches would make him kind of borderline to come back today, at least in the first game. Maybe give him a little bit more time and throw him tomorrow night. But doing a little bit of research on him after the game. He's a guy who bounces back really well. They've used him a couple of times this year, apparently, in 40 pitch performances on back-to-back days. So I don't think that they'll have any problem in him bouncing back. I don't know if he'll look exactly the same as he did last night, but he's been effective on back-to-back days before this season in throwing some major innings.
Yeah, the 2021 Arkansas version of Scott Barber. It's the 3rd Scott Barber reference we've had on the show
this week.
Yeah, killer bees, man.
Yeah, you can never have too many Scott Barber references. That's the truth.
No, man. I think they'd love to have that 3-headed monster back. Bought Night, Bauer, Barber. It was something special. Thomas Farr was special too last night, John. Look, I know if you didn't watch the game and you look at the line, you see, first of all, the L, and then you go, okay, well, he had an okay night. 7 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. I thought he had his best night in well over a month. He threw 2 pitches that he missed with, and the worst one, of course, was 0-2. He missed it by about 2 feet, and it was right down the middle, and then it was deposited onto Ray Tanner Way out there in right field. But assess what you saw out of Thomas Farr. I mean, I thought for a Friday night performance against the top-ranked offense in the league, maybe the best offense in the country, number 1 in town, he's been struggling. I thought he was brilliant, but those 2 balls off the Moore kid's bat left the yard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're spot on. I mean, I thought he was great last night. He missed a spot on the first solo home run as well. That they wanted it down and kind of on the outer half, and he threw it down and in, and dude just dropped the barrel of the bat down there and got it out. And that, you're right. He just missed that pitch right down the middle and on the second home run, and it was something he was trying to elevate and just didn't get it high enough. And credit Mr. Moore. He didn't miss it, and he's got 11 home runs on the season now. I mean, tip your cap to him, because it's even when you make a mistake, when you throw 95 miles an hour, it's still difficult to hit, even if that ball's right down the middle. And you're not expecting an 0-2 fastball down the middle at any time, but certainly not in that situation. And credit that kid for making Thomas pay. But I thought he pitched great. I thought he had his command. I thought he had his pitches working. He worked quickly. He seemed confident. He didn't there's times when things haven't gone well for him. You can kind of see it on his face, and I didn't see that from him last night, and I think that helps you as a pitcher. When you're able to keep your emotions in check. So I thought he did a great job all around, and he just hasn't gotten much help. He hasn't pitched poorly this year. He hasn't pitched great, but he hasn't pitched poorly either, and he hasn't gotten much help around him from a defensive standpoint or from an offensive standpoint. He had to get out of trouble there in the third inning. After Eister missed that fly ball, tough play, but on a Friday night against the number one team, you need to make that play. But he had to throw a lot more pitches, a lot of more high pressure pitches, and he just kind of shrugged it off and kept on going. That started a string of 11 straight batters he retired. I mean, anytime you can retire 11 straight hitters, you've done something well. But when you do it against the number one team in the country and you do it against one of the best offenses in the country, you've accomplished something. So I think he did a great job last night, and it's disappointing that he didn't get any help around him.
Yeah, I agree. John Whittle with the big spur, and what's important with that as well to add on, John, is what's coming. You got to have a Friday night guy, and he looked like one last night. Now, obviously, offensively, they're going to have to string together, more than 2 hits. They only had 2 last night. Burgess and Mendham had both of those, and even those were interesting because Mendham's, it appeared that it was on a hit and run, and then Burgess's was slapped pretty well, but that first baseman left a lot to be desired in his efforts to pick it up down the first base line. I kind of laughed at that. He kind of just looked in his glove. I was like, I don't know, move your feet. That might help you a tad there. Let me add something else, and then let's move on to this bunt deal. I know there was also some folks last night wondering about Wesley Sweat and Gilreath. Why are we throwing them? Well, why the hell would you throw one of your best arms? You got a doubleheader coming up today, and it's not 14 innings, it's 18 innings. Until you get the lead, you don't need to just throw Peters in there or Carey. So I think they did a great job. By the way, Gilreath's a lefty, a lot of lefties in that lineup. Let's get to the bunt. All right. All right. You weren't with us at the top of the program, John. Good thing. I had my say with some of what I saw because everybody's a coach now. I don't know if you knew that or not, but Mark Kingston more than likely should check Twitter before he makes his next call. Now, and it's not ideal to say to a 6'5", 240-pounder like Seitler, right? Hey, I needed you to get a bunt down here. Generally, those guys aren't squaring to bunt a lot. But I also feel like maybe Mark Kingston deserves a little credit. He kind of watched him in practice every day for 3 years. Has a clue of what he can and can't do. My buddy Kyle Jordan, formerly of the Citadel, texted just a little bit ago and said, you got to get the bunt down. He didn't say, well, he shouldn't have called a bunt there. You got to get it down. So obviously he had confidence he could get it down. It just didn't work out, John. I want to get your thoughts on that. I know that Mark's taking some heat for it. He shouldn't. That's not why they necessarily lost the game, but it is where momentum changed, I felt like.
Yeah, I think so. And, I'll be forthright with you. I feel like, and I said it at the time in the press box, but I felt like they should let Josiah swing away. Okay. I'm not anti-bunting. I like bunting in a lot of instances. I felt like Josiah needed to swing, but at the same time, I don't have all the same data that they're looking at too. Left-handed hitters might hit 0.50 against dude they brought in. Josiah might be hitting 100 in SEC play against left-handers. That's data I don't have, and that's probably the case. But I certainly understand when you look at every factor why you go there, and people are going to assume that if Josiah or anybody gets a hit with runners on first and second, that it's going to score a run. Well, that's not really the case. David Mendham's on second. He's not guaranteed to score from second base on any kind of hit. And if Josiah gets out, you're bringing up a guy who's a candidate in Colin Burgess for a double play. He's been really good all season. And really, with runners in scoring position, he's been the team's best hitter in SEC play when it comes to batting average. So you feel pretty good about him getting the hit in some capacity. But, if you got guys on first and second, he's a double play candidate, as we saw right afterwards. So, I completely understand, the bunt call there. And Mark Kingston says he does it 100% of the time, and he was 100% confident that Josiah Seitler gets it down. And, I'm not gonna debate that point with him. If he felt good about Josiah doing it, then go for it. As I sit there in the press box, it's a lot easier for me to say swing away than give away an out. But, I felt like there was a lot of momentum on South Carolina's side at that point. I felt like the crowd was into it and enthusiastic. And I just thought it felt like an opportunity for Josiah to get a hit versus move the runners up and play for one run. So that was my feeling in the moment, but I certainly completely understand why Mark Kingston went with the bunt play because of all of the factors there that go into it, including, what was going on the base path and the guy who's hitting behind Josiah too.
Yeah. And, and to your point there, what we're discussing here are a preference of strategy. John, you feel like you would have done something different. I probably would have actually bunted him as well. If I was, this is my point. If I was comfortable with it, you can't, like, if you're a fan or whoever, if you're watching this, you can't really criticize whether he's capable of bunting or not, because you don't know that. You don't have that answer. I mean, this is Mark Kingston's the guy that's coaching the guy every day. He knows whether he can or can't get it. The other thing that I'll add to this, and you'll know what I'm talking about here, he missed one. You remember that his first at bat, John? It was about an 87-mile-an-hour fastball, literally right down the middle, and he swung right through it. And he was having a tough day at the plate. He missed another couple, and I don't know if he wasn't comfortable or it's just one of those days. It's baseball. We have off days in this sport. And I felt like maybe that played into Mark's decision as well. Hey, look, I know you can bunt. You're having a tough day at the plate. Let's be productive here and get our guys over. He talked to him before he even stepped into the box, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And, Josiah's really, he hasn't been great in SEC play. He's hitting 206 in the league. He's second on the team in strikeouts in the league. Braylon Wimmer's got 23. He's got 22. You look at every factor and I completely understand it. And I think the lefty-lefty matchup probably sealed the deal in terms of the desire to, bunt there. If they had left the previous pitcher in, they probably let him swing away, a right-hander who's not throwing a lot of strikes. But, so I get the decision made. So, I mean, I'm perfectly good with it. And it's really hard to have the discussion on places like Twitter or on the Big Spur or whatever, because there's so many people who are just anti-bunt regardless of the circumstance now. Like, I'm for bunting in the right moments, and I can see why that was a right moment for a head baseball coach. But there are so many never bunt people out there that it's tiresome to have to deal with and have that conversation with. But I get it. I still it's easy for me to call from the press box and not have any repercussions to deal with. I felt like I would have swung away, but at the same time, I completely get the call.
All right, I'm going to text Mark here in just a little bit, John. I'll put you on this. It'll be a group text. And Skyler for his decisions.
Here are our thoughts about what you should do.
No, I'm just going to I'm going to offer a polite suggestion to Mark and Skyler and Stewart that before they make major decisions in baseball games moving forward, they need to poll the audience on Twitter.
Yes.
Just put up a poll question and let's see what everybody's got to say and then go with it.
You could do it in Founders Park. You could do it on the video board and have, like a little game like they do in like the 7th inning stretch. Root for the green card to win and we're going to bunt.
like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing. Ask the audience question.
That's right. That's right. All right. How do we play the 7th here, folks? We're down or tied at 1 apiece. What would you do with this? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what Twitter's for. Everybody's a coach. John, could you imagine if we showed up to some insurance office and started tweeting about how people were handling policies that they were writing for other folks? Oh my God. Hey, you didn't bag my groceries right, you son of a bitch. Put the eggs in this bag.
Baseball is the sport that's easiest to second guess. I mean, when you're watching football, you can second guess run or pass or what have you, but it's 11 guys out there who are trying to make a play. And even basketball, there's folks who don't really understand the motions and so forth. But man, in baseball, it's really easy for folks to second guess. But that's just the sport it is, and these coaches know what they're signing up for because they get criticized at every level, whether it's Major League Baseball or whether it's not, whether it's 5-year-old T-ball. Is that when you're playing T-ball, 5 years old?
I think so.
The coaching decisions are questioned all along the way, and when you come into a passionate baseball market like a South Carolina or an LSU or Arkansas or whoever else, like you're going to hear people's opinions for sure. So I think they've got some thick skin by now, but I've appreciated Mark Kingston's answer last night when he said I'd have done it 100% of the time. Every hitter does it every day, and I had 100% confidence he'd get it down. So, I certainly respect that.
Well, when I was 5, I was playing T-ball, but like when Smoke was 5, he was on the JV. So, it's different for everybody, John, as you well know. Let's talk about today quickly before we let you run. I know your buddy Hale is going to get all frustrated if we don't get to him on time, right? I mean, he's getting what a loose cannon that guy is. I'm kidding. Just kidding. It's Friday.
I have words. I'm going to hold my words. I have words, but I'm going to keep them and let you ask your question.
Yes. Sorry, man. It's Friday. Darren and I drink before the shows on Friday. Brandon Jordan and Peyton Pallett will go at it today, and then maybe a preview of the future for Gamecock baseball tonight. John, Will Sanders will start on a Friday night, although I don't know the last time I've seen Game 3 being played on a Friday night, but they will. So he'll get the bump. He'll get the nod tonight against Arkansas's. This is their secret guy, TBA. He's a great arm, big arm, lefty. So your thoughts on these? Look, Carolina, they're not in an uncomfortable place. They just went to Baton Rouge and swept a doubleheader last week. And I know that LSU is not Arkansas. Nobody is right now. Carolina's been down 0-1 in a lot of series this year, all except the 14-inning affair against Florida. So this is not uncomfortable for them. What do you think we'll see today?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I don't think I'm giving any kind of like breaking news analysis here. I think this team plays and carries itself pretty confidently. I think they have grown accustomed to being able to shake off those opening game losses. I mean, they certainly look like they have based on the way they've played the following day each day. Now, that being said, it took them a little while to snap out of it against LSU in game 2 of that series and in the first game of that doubleheader. And, Arkansas's got a much better team offensively than LSU did, so they can't afford to fall behind like that and get out to a slow start because it's going to be difficult to come back from with Arkansas's bats that they've got going. But I feel good about Brandon Jordan. I mean, he's when he's not walking guys, it's hard to score off him because he's third in the league in batting average against, and he's given up some runs this year. The ERA doesn't quite square up with some of his other numbers because of walks. So, he's been good overall here lately and really in SEC play in terms of limiting those free passes. So if he continues to do that, you got to feel good about where you are with him on the mound. And then Will Sanders is, this is the second week in a row that he's been bumped up a day. And, especially with a freshman, you worry about that a little bit, but that kid has thrown so many innings in his life. He throws on he throws a lot of pitches and he throws on short rest, and y'all know I work for a travel team in the summers, and we won't let a kid throw over 100 innings in a calendar year. And Will Sanders, coming his high school senior year, junior year going into his senior year, he threw, I think it was right around 150 innings. He's accustomed to throwing a lot, so I don't worry too much about him bumping up. But if he doesn't have the same kind of velocity, or if he doesn't have the same kind of bite on that sinker, and we may see a little bit of ineffectiveness because Arkansas is so good and can take advantage of that kind of thing. So, I always feel really good about Brandon Jordan. I always feel really good about Will Sanders. But this Arkansas offense is a great 1 through 9. They don't have any easy outs. So I feel good about South Carolina's mindset and being able to bounce back and what they have on the mound. So, I think that South Carolina should be able to take at least one of these.
I agree. And you know what? If they don't sweep today, we're 30 minutes exactly from first pitch at Founders Park. I hope fans will understand, number one, Arkansas is number one. And number two, Carolina is still in a really good spot. You got to get one if you can, but they're still in a really good spot. We'll see what happens. John, really excited to see this today. Again, 30 minutes from first pitch in game one. And, of course, game two coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. By the way, I took the weather forecast. We all know what it looks like tomorrow. It's brutal. And it's going to be beautiful there today. But how about this? You don't see this often. Tonight at 8 o'clock in Columbia, 67 degrees, partly cloudy, winds out of the east-southeast at 0 miles per hour.
So how's it east-southeast if it's not moving?
I don't know. That's just what they say. So there won't be any wind tonight, John. So hopefully that's good news for somebody, Carolina, preferably. We'll let you run on that note. What's the press box food tonight?
There's none of that this year. There's none of that. They do
fire Tanner, fire Ray Tanner.
Yep. They'll give us a bottle of water, and they've upgraded. It wasn't the Food Lion brand last week. We got some Dasani this week, so they've upgraded us.
God damn Ray Tanner. All he does, let me tell you about Ray Tanner, John. All he does is throw people out of the stands, okay? He doesn't serve water anymore. He can't even get you a snack or a sandwich to get through a ball game. Fire him. He's a moron. Fire that Ray Tanner.
I read a couple of people complaining last night about a fan being ejected from the stadium. Didn't mention the fact that he decided to throw a baseball back on the field at the third base coach of Arkansas. Didn't mention that fact, but it's unacceptable for that fan to be ejected.
Details.
So, that's what we're working with some people. You can't pay attention to what everybody says. That's for sure.
Dude, oh God, some people. I don't know if social media and everybody's cameras created idiots or exposed them, but they are there. There's no doubt about that. So. You're not one, though. You're not. You're one of the people that we follow. You're a smart dude. You're a level-headed guy, unlike that McGranahan character who keeps tweeting at us.
Yeah, he's yelling at us.
So we'll let you run.
That we kept talking a little while longer so we could make him wait.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, John, enjoy the games today. Hopefully Carolina can give you something pretty good to write about, and we'll see where things stand later on tonight. It's 27 innings in basically 27 hours for Carolina and Arkansas over the Thursday-Friday span. So a lot of baseball. Gamecocks' arsenal of arms is loaded in the bullpen. Hopefully they can get a lead and preserve it. And we'll see what John Whittle's got to say on thebigspur.com. Thanks, bud. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you for all of your time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Y'all take care.
Later.
Always. You got it. All right, going to hit a quick timeout. Getting back Hale up another couple minutes here. Have no fear. Hale McGranahan is here on the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. What's up, everyone? JB here. Want to tell you about my friends at Mcfadden Pest Control, as we do every day on our program. I love these guys. They've been in business over 40 years, and they treat our family like they've only been around for 4 days. Always doing their best work, trying to earn our business, although they know that they'll always have it. Heath and the guys take care of our quarterly, our mosquitoes, termite bonds, anything we can get them to do, they do it. They're the best. They're friends. Heath even often texts me and just asks to see how my family's doing. It's amazing. I can't say enough about Mcfadden Pest Control. Switch to them. You'll never have anyone else protect your home. McFaddenPestControl.com, McFaddenPestControl.com here in the Low Country.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risk their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
Bourbon and whiskey drinkers of Charleston. Paddock and Whiskey on James Island and the Terrace Shopping Center on Maybank is your home for the finest and rarest bourbon and whiskey drinks in the Low Country. This is where I hang out. Go meet my friends Reed and Chris and try one of their exclusive barrel pick bourbons. They have the largest private barrel collection in the state, and let their knowledgeable staff recommend your next pour. PaddockandWhiskey.com. Let not your heart be troubled. Paddock and Whiskey is here for your next double. We're all friends around here. Paddock and Whiskey, proud partners of the JB and Goldwater Show.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Low Country. Our back nine is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit StonoFerryGolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf teams. Come see us. We would love to have you. StonoFerryGolf.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
All right, final segment, Friday afternoon. Welcome back, the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Darren, I'm sitting here texting kind of back and forth with Kyle Jordan.
Yeah, tell him I said what's up.
I think he's listening or watching, so he can probably hear you there. And he was just telling me what Freddie would do in some of these situations. I said, you should give Freddie a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Just let Freddie go ham on some folks.
It'd be entertaining.
Yeah, it would be entertaining, no doubt. All right, so we're late getting to Hale, but here's the good news for Hale. We are not going to extend you past 1:59 because at 2 o'clock Gamecock baseball is on, and that's what I'll be tuned into. So Hale McGranahan is going to be covering the spring game. It's on Sunday now at 2 o'clock, and here to talk about the women's golf team is Hale McGranahan. Hey, man.
Hey, what's up? Quick pivot. It's okay. We adjust on the fly.
So I have an idea. We've been kind of poking fun at all the keyboard warriors and the message board heroes. What we should do is Darren, like when you're watching baseball today, just be like, oh, that's a penalty. They should have run it there instead of throwing it. You know what I mean? And then when we're watching football, like, well, the guy should have bunted. He should have bunted him over to the 40-yard line. I mean, just make up stuff.
Yeah, I think Luke Doty should have thrown at Zaquandre White's head there for that PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah. Hey, tell me. I think Del Bianco wrote the column, but I don't even know. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. What's going on with this PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, so earlier this week when Marcus Satterfield was talking to us, he was asked about Zaquandre White, and I think he just said something about how Zaquandre showed this PowerPoint presentation that I guess highlighted the intricacies and specifics with technique and such when it comes to ball security, high and tight, cover 5 points of the ball, all that kind of stuff. And then apparently included some pictures of Monterio Hardesty back when he was playing at Tennessee and showed examples of when Hardesty had good ball control and bad ball control. So I think he had fun with it and probably got a few laughs too. I think Zaquandre White's probably one of the funnier guys on the team. So I would be interested to see if they could somehow recreate that in the moment. Hopefully somebody had a camera phone going and was recording it because I'm sure it was pretty funny. in that presentation. But yeah, that was the gist of it. That he like put it all together and said, "Hey, here's what good ball security looks like."
Dude, I think that's awesome. I think that's
yeah.
It seems. Look, I know because I also saw yesterday that Clayton White. I guess I'm assuming you were on the call with him, and he was like, "Hey, for the first time, I kind of got into the lunch of one of my guys. I think it might have been O'Donnell Fortune, maybe."
Yeah.
But like that's normal. So I hope nobody's overreacting about that. First of all, it's just coaches and players in football, and that's what happens. They're there to make you better. But it seems though like this team, man. Like I feel like I don't know what we're going to see Sunday, but it feels fun. Like there seems to be like these coaches have all continued to reiterate this. I heard Justin Stepp the other day. Hey, look, I'm proving myself to you that you can trust me. Like it feels like they've all kind of taken that approach, and it feels like it's been welcomed by the players.
Yeah, I think so. And, I think it's also one of those things where Shane Beamer's coming in, and he seems like kind of I don't want to say an easygoing type of guy. I don't know him well enough to say that, but I don't get the sense that he's as like buttoned up and like maybe sometimes a little too serious for some things as Will Muschamp could be. Now, don't get me wrong, like Muschamp is a pretty funny guy, and when he's loosened up and he can cut up with the best of them. But I think this staff with Beamer, I think he just wants things to be a little more. I think loosey goosey is probably not the right way to put it, but it's not quite as rigid and uptight and robotic. My best example of that, beyond maybe South Carolina football from 2016 to halfway into 2020, was like the end of the Jack Leggett run at Clemson, when they would have such good teams and they would get in those tight moments and things would just get a little too tense. And when you're playing a little too tense, that's not the best way to play, regardless of the sport. So I think maybe that's a change that's welcomed amongst the players who are around under the previous staff and are still here today.
These spring games are always so interesting, right, Hale? Because you especially for somebody like you're covering the game, and so you're going to write about what you see, but a lot of what you see is you don't know how that translates. I mean, there's some guys who aren't going to be playing. They're not going to show, some stuff. I'm sure they're going to show a lot. They've been going against each other all spring. Offense might have a great day in the or vice versa, defense, whatever, but you don't really know how to judge and gauge these things. So what do you take out of a spring game when you watch it?
Not a whole lot. Like you said, they're not going to be showing all their secrets and putting in their best formations and doing their best stuff out of those formations and all that. I mean, they're not even going to be able to put in all 11 starters that they want on defense. That's for sure. And so just not a lot, really, honestly. I want to just see individuals making plays like Luke Doty when he drops back to pass, if he can, connect on a deep ball or make a good read and deliver the ball with accuracy and confidence and all that. And I want to see the receivers catching the ball. I want to see how the DBs cover, that kind of thing. I was talking to somebody the other day. I just want to see like pitching and catching, man. Throwing, catching, guys making plays. That's all I'm really interested in, because you can't take a lot out of it, honestly, especially team wide. Maybe individually some guys flash here and there and you see something that looks good and maybe gives you some reason for confidence in the fall. But yeah, just simple throwing and catching, man. That's really what I'm looking for on Sunday.
Earlier this week, some quick news to plug in here. Earlier this week, Mike Woods announced he was transferring from Arkansas. I know a lot of Gamecock fans are going to keep an eye on him. He has just announced he's going to head to Oklahoma, and one of your good friends, Hale McGranahan, and one of Darren's, not mine, though. I don't care for the guy much, but J.C. Sherbert mentioned as much on Wednesday in our program that that was a likely destination for him, and he will be a Sooner. So once again, fire Ray Tanner. It's all Ray's fault. He didn't want to come to South Carolina. Is there a sense of maybe which side of the ball is further along with this new staff in place? I know that maybe we'll see a glimpse of this on Sunday. I don't know, but offense, defense, is special teams. Hey, special teams should be pretty good, right? Is there a sense of which one of those groups maybe looks a little bit better at this point than another?
I heard the defense was pretty solid, especially the line in their last scrimmage this past weekend. I don't want to say that it's necessarily ahead of the offense, because there are a lot of holes in the secondary, and they can't even put together a full two deep back there. So I don't want to go so far as to say that. And I think things are still kind of a work in progress at linebacker, trying to figure out how exactly that's going to look, though. I think they're feeling good about where Brett Johnson is, learning that new linebacker position, and Sherrod Green, when he's been out there, I think they have felt pretty good about him running the defense from that Mike spot. So, I mean, if I had to pick one, yeah, I think I would say the defense, just because, that last scrimmage, like I said, the line really had its way. What I was told was there were a problem. Like, everybody, wasn't just one or two guys, and that's to be expected. It's a deep group on the edge with JJ Mbare and Aaron Sterling and some of those guys, Jordan Burch. That when that's your better position group or your best position group on the team, chances are they're going to have some moments where they really show it. And I think that was the case last weekend. So if I had to put my finger on one side of the ball or the other, I'd say defense, to answer your question, JB.
Hale McGranahan with the BigSpur.com. Any sense of where some of the coaches stand on this potential change in practice rules for the fall, dropping contact practices from 21 to 8? Have you asked anybody on staff about that, and what did they say?
I have not. No, I think it was brought up yesterday when we had the coordinators, and I honestly haven't done a whole lot of research into it and what it means. I mean, what you just said was like the first time I'd heard that. I knew that it was part of the latest legislation from the NCAA, but I haven't paid too much attention to it, and I think the staff is just looking at it like, well, we got to adjust. Like, those are the rules, and we got to follow them as best we can. So we may not like it, but here we go. So they might sit around and complain about it, but they're going to have to quickly get past that and figure out how to adjust.
How about some of the external stuff for the game this weekend? Are we expecting some former players from South Carolina to be in attendance? I know throughout the spring we've seen a lot of pictures released of the Alshons and the Stephons and so many more who have come to support the program, support Shane Beamer and everybody in between. Is there a list anywhere of a bunch of former guys? I know that Coach Muschamp always had which I always appreciated. I hope maybe Shane will continue this. Always had a Letterman's game basically before they would play the spring game year in and year out. I don't think they're going to be able to do that this year, but will there be some former guys in support?
Yeah, I've seen a few here and there. Things on social media. Like I saw Mike Davis talking about how he was planning on being there. The South Carolina Twitter account and Instagram account, I'm sure, posted some pictures of Beamer dapping up DJ Swearinger and Pharaoh Cooper. So I would imagine those guys, as long as they don't have other obligations that they have to get out of town for on Sunday, that they would probably try to still be at the game. I think there'll probably be a handful of guys from that era who show up, but yeah, it was always kind of cool to see who was showing back up for those flag football games that they would play beforehand. And I know those former players like to come back for that and compete against each other and have fun that way. So, hopefully in 2022 we're talking about this flag football game and breaking that down and talking about what that could look like with Steven Garcia, throwing touchdown passes to Ryan Brewer or whatever. So.
And drinking beer.
I would imagine there'd be a decent amount of former players there on Sunday, though.
I've known Steven a long time. I like Steven. I just want to see him drink beer on the 50-yard line. That's all I care about. So, I think that So I know that Shane was asked about continuing the Spurrier era tradition of running somebody off the sidelines and throwing a pass into the end zone. It's always a fun little deal with the spring game. I think he should change it up a little bit. So when you talk to him on Sunday, make sure that you slide this in for next year's spring game, because Shane's a big note taker. He takes a lot of notes. So make sure that he puts this in his notes. I think that they should hide former stars in uniform in the game. like for instance, if we see like Sunday, we're sitting there watching the game, and then all of a sudden this guy just slings 150 yards across the middle, and this dude comes, cutting across like a jackrabbit, and he jumps up and catches it over a defender, and then he runs to the end zone, and they take their helmets off, and you realize that Connor Shaw just threw a pass to Alshon, and he caught it over Swearinger. Like, I think that would be really neat.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see Emmanuel Cook taking like Sam Reynolds' head off when he goes over the middle trying to catch the plant. I don't think that'd be the best thing.
You think you can convince the NFL teams that, hey, can we borrow the guys you're paying $1 million so we can run them out there in pads for our if they're still in the NFL?
They might put that in the next collective bargaining agreement there, and I don't know.
Well, it's just something we need to keep an eye on. We also need to keep an eye on visitors. They obviously can't have, quote, official visitors, but do you know or have knowledge of prospects that will be in attendance for Sunday's game?
Yeah, I've heard of a few, mostly in-state guys who are local. Antonio Williams, a receiver out of Dutch Fork High School, is I think still planning to be there. That's what I've heard is the plan for him. He was scheduled to go Saturdays, and they moved the game back to Sunday because of the weather, and there are a handful of guys who had to kind of cancel their plans or rethink their plans because there's a camp in Atlanta. I think it's a Rivals camp that's in Atlanta on Sunday that a lot of guys certainly are expected to be at, and I don't think anybody's going to hold it against them if they do decide to go to that. But I am told that Antonio Williams is a guy who is looking like he'll be at Williams-Brice on Sunday. Of course, he won't be able to talk in person with any of the coaches while he's in the stadium or go in the locker room or anything like that. But it sounds like he and his family are going to, still use the $5 tickets they bought and go sit in the stands and watch the game. So I think that's certainly an encouraging sign for South Carolina in their 2022 recruiting effort, because he's a big-time receiver and, of course, right up the road as well. Then, DQ Smith, a guy who plays at Spring Valley, who's a quarterback there, they've offered as a DB, is someone South Carolina's offered, and he's expected to be there on Sunday too. Zan Dunham from Chester, another junior who plays quarterback at his high school like DQ Smith, but has been offered to play defense for the Gamecocks. So handful of guys like that. I know there'll be a handful of guys who've signed with this 2021 class, like Omega Blake and TJ Sanders and some others.
Good.
But there have been a few guys who've had to I guess cancel plans or won't be able to follow through on plans as a result of the game being moved back. But certainly trying to confirm more names, and we'll be definitely monitoring that throughout the weekend on the website.
We've got a major discussion going on in the bigspur.com here, Hale. You got to get this answered fast. If this is not this is a major problem. This is off topic here, according to this gentleman. I hope I don't run off some of your subscribers. If I do, I'll give JC the $10 to get him back.
Give it to me, that's fine. You don't have to give it to JC.
We don't have to tell him about it.
But having been to Gamecock Park twice in the last 3 weeks for vaccine shots, I couldn't help but notice how poor the quads are being maintained from a landscape perspective. I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be Augusta National this time of year, but there are weeds everywhere, and it looks rough overall. With upcoming visits to campus from recruits and families, I really hope there's a plan to address this up soon.
Can they bunt the flower beds?
Get on that off-season landscaping, boys and girls. Good Lord. Oh, fire Ray Tanner. Fire that son of a bitch.
Yep.
He can't keep the landscaping
I was
right.
going to say, get Ray Tanner on. Let's see what he's got to say.
I'm telling you, man.
I'll tell you what, I've been trying to grow some grass in my front yard, and I've been pulling a lot of weeds the last couple weeks. So my back is up for it. I can go pull weeds if this guy needs me to. I don't mind.
Jesus. They don't have water in the press box. They're throwing out fans who throw baseballs at coaches. Can't keep the landscaping up. Fire Ray Tanner. Yeah, no, All right, what else? Back to the point here. You got about 2 or 3 minutes left. What is on your front burner agenda this weekend? What will you specifically be? I know you're going to be writing a bunch of stories about the game, what we see, and things like that. But maybe something that's kind of in the works for the BigSpur.com that you're going to keep your eyes on as far as the spring game goes.
Yeah, like I was saying a second ago, is mostly just trying to confirm more recruits who are planning to show up and come watch the game. That's kind of first and foremost for me these next 48 hours or so, and probably a little bit beyond that, because probably hear of guys showing up after the game starts, things like that. And that's just usually how it kind of goes. So I suspect that'll be an emphasis for the website, or I not suspect, I know it will be. It'll definitely be something we're monitoring and trying to keep our subscribers in the loop on. So yeah, that's my main duties, aside from whatever my bride to be asks of me between now and then. So
hey man, hey, good luck with the future life. Darren and I could tell you, get out while you can. The wide receiver group, I think that might be maybe the most watched position this week, Hale, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I definitely am curious to see how that group looks. And I know a bunch of those guys, or not a bunch, but several of those guys have missed some time throughout the spring. So I'm kind of curious to see how that group looks in terms of just who all is out there, but certainly want to see some of those individuals and see how well they play, for sure.
Well, I hope that landscaping looks good before they play on Sunday. They might run off a whole host of recruits from Mcfadden, South Carolina. My dear, I couldn't imagine. Hey, man, great stuff as always. Thank you so much. I tell you what, we'll have you back next week if you'd be so kind to rejoin us and maybe recap what you saw on Sunday.
I would be happy to. Appreciate you guys having me back on.
We'll be late getting to you, whatever time that is.
Yep, and
that's fine. It's at least you're consistent.
That's right.
That's right. And the check's in the mail. The check will be there before we get you back on the air. I promise.
That $10 check.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Recurring fee, monthly. Actually, you can join the Big Spur for $1 right now. So you're only getting $1, pal.
I don't like the sound of that.
Oh man, have a 20-year ago Sandy's hot dog on me for the rifle for $1. Have a great weekend, bud. Can't wait to watch it on Sunday. We'll of course be monitoring the BigSpur.com for all of your brilliant work. We really, really, truly appreciate it. Hale, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
See ya.
There you go, Hale McGranahan. Darren, let me tell you something. If they run one 5-star recruit off because the landscaping across the street in Gamecock Park in April is with the vaccine and the COVID vaccinations, all that stuff going on over there, and they can't get out there and cut that grass and get those weeds out of there before September. Oh boy, we're gonna have a big problem here.
I know when I was deciding on schools, I mean, top of my list was how have they maintain the flower beds.
Yeah, are there any weeds growing in the tailgate area? I want to know before I choose a school. I'm with you.
I mean, why am I going to pay money if there's weeds? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Tanner, I tell you got to get rid of that guy. He can't even keep up the landscaping company. It is National Cherry Cheesecake Day. It is National Lost Dogs Awareness Day. It's National Take a Chance Day. It is National Picnic Day, and it is National
on a picnic in the bad flower beds.
That's right. It's National Day of Silence. So
it's not a good day.
Tomorrow, though, is a really good day. It is National Pigs in a Blanket Day.
Yeah, great.
It's National Pool Opening Day for all of you HOAs. Get it open.
Ours has been open since April 1st.
Oh, April Fools.
Yeah.
And it's National Kiss of Hope Day tomorrow as well. So, if you hope the best for somebody, kiss them. All right. It's always cheesesteak day. How about a cheesesteak to kick off your weekend?
Sounds good to me.
If you're going to be watching both baseball games today and you're in the low country, this is great. Get through the first one, order online, they deliver it, have a cheesesteak for the second game. Perfect.
And your day is done. We've planned it for you.
Yeah. If you got to cut the grass like the Gamecocks need to do, you go to Wando Power Equipment on Daniel Island. Get you suited right up, man. Best prices, best service anywhere. The Price family, they're awesome. All right, thanks to Hale, thanks to Raphael, thanks to John, thanks to Darren, thanks to all of you. Believe it or not, we're going to return if we didn't upset everybody on Monday at noon. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend. JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen.